Welcome everyone. Today we're going to go over the collection of comics found within Deadrop. So some of you may not know, but some of the issues contain a series of symbols that can be deciphered. And thanks to the help of MrSpaceman, we've decoded everything we can find in the comics. Starting with issue number 1, there really just isn't much for us to decode here or any deeper meaning that we found in it, so let's move on to issue 2. So here the most notable thing we have would be the car and the writing above it, which when decoded reads black on black exterior paint applied, which is a previous teaser for being able to apply paint to the player's cars. Next, with issue number 3, we see a handful of cars racing with the text reading, "Race to the tower, build, drive, survive." I believe this is one of the biggest hints at gameplay that we have, especially when it comes to vehicles. I believe this is flat out telling us what the gameplay loop for cars is going to involve in Deadrop. I believe before we actually load into the tower, what we're going to do is we are going to use our vehicles to traverse to the tower. And a personal idea that I've had for that is, like, maybe depending on what path you take while traversing in your vehicle, that determines where in the tower, such as what sector you deploy into, and things like that. But this here is a huge teaser for what's to come with vehicles. Moving on to issue 4, we get a picture of what would almost appear to be a mannequin or an artificial body. And the text on this one reads, "Sins of the Father." This would have been the first teaser for the sin system, in which once your character dies in a match, you have the opportunity to come back as a synthetic being, also known in Deadrop as a sin. Issue number 5 seems to contain much less clues, but we do have two sections of text, one at the top that reads "Stop," and one at the bottom that reads "The Cleaner's Calling." Now this doesn't seem to tease anything directly, but it does mention the cleaners, which we know are going to be one of the forms of AIs that we will encounter in the tower at some point in the future. So there's a little teaser there that they are coming, they do exist, and at some point they are going to be trouble. Now getting back to possibly the more exciting teasers, issue number 6 at a glance seems to have no text to decode. However, on the crossbeams above the head of the person, there are two sets of symbols that when translated read "Skyhook Hanger." Now with this issue being number 6 and snapshot 6 coming, that could mean we get a proving ground for Sector 4, because we do know that the Skyhook Hanger is located in Sector 4 and it will be a form of extract. However, I could be reaching a bit on this one, and it could just be telling us it exists. Moving on to issue number 7, the cover reads "Time's Up, Cleaners." And if we want to go off of the idea that the issue number for the comic book ties into the snapshot number, then this would seemingly tease that AI enemies known as cleaners will be introduced in snapshot 7. However, I personally think that we may be getting them sooner to that, but it alludes to our time in the tower wandering it aimlessly free without that kind of threat is coming to an end. Now, when it comes to issue number 8, the text reads simply 3, 2, 1. And this may not seem like much, however, my thoughts personally on it are that, going off of the image and the countdown on the comic book, I think this is our first teaser at the inclusion of being able to go into the tower as a squad, going in with other claws in the manner of duo or trios. I don't think we'd have squads where you're going with 4 people. Just based off of the cover, with it being 3 people, my guess is that we would have trios. Now moving on to issue number 9, while I don't have an in-game image of the cover, I do have an image coming straight from the variant guide. What we can see is a figure dressed in blue, and on his jacket there's a name tag that reads Bob. This is a teaser for the character called Space Bob being added into the game, and since this is the last image in the variant guide, this has historically been a teaser for what's coming in the next snapshot. Also, from what we've been told, Space Bob will be an NPC that is interactable with inside the hideout. So that may also indicate some of what we're getting in the next snapshot. With issues number 10, 11, and 12, we really haven't found any major teasers or anything to decode in them, so we're just going to brush past those. There's nothing there that we have found so far. Issue 13 reads Claw Series 3. And this one seemingly is just presenting a specific Claw story, but not teasing anything for the future. And issue number 14 continues this trend, reading Claw series finale. Next, we get a large image of a skull and a character exclaiming Wraith. And this just seems to point to the developer's variants, as their visor cortex is labeled Wraith of the Existence. Now last, but definitely not least, we have issue number 16, in which I also took an image from the variant guide. And this image contains the cards of Deadrop once again, as well as text that reads Parts Required, Chassis Acquired, Garage Under Construction, Extensive Roadwork Underway, Multiple Routes Detected, as well as the license plate having the Roman numeral for number 7, hinting very heavily that vehicles will be coming in Snapshot 7, as well as somewhat backing my theory for the vehicle gameplay loop in which we would use cars to deploy to the tower before entering the match. And with it saying multiple routes detected, maybe this could also prove my theory on where you deploy into the tower, which sector you jump into, would be determined by what route you take when you're going to the tower. So with all that, that is all the comics in Deadrop, Decoded, and some speculation on what they mean and what may be coming. If you enjoyed the video and want to see more, definitely let me know. That's all until next time, and I'll see you all in the tower.